In an age of artificial intelligence, instant answers, and ever-changing headlines, history might seem like a distant echo. But look closer. Every revolution, every crisis, every victory we experience today, has its roots in the past. History isn't just a list of dates or dusty old facts. It's a map, one that shows us who we are, where we've been, and where we're headed. Today, we're unlocking the power of the past to better understand the world we live in. Because to shape the future, you must first understand the story that built it. So let us slow down, just for a moment. Let us stop scrolling. Let us turn away from the chaos of now, and step into the stories that made us. From ancient empires to quiet revolutions, from moments of horror to miracles of courage, this is the truth buried in time. This is why learning history matters more than ever before. Let us begin our countdown. 10. History reveals patterns that protect us. History is the closest thing humanity has to a user manual. It doesn't offer exact blueprints, but it whispers warnings, and if we listen carefully, we can avoid tragedy. When we study the collapse of Rome, the Great Depression, or the genocides of the 20th century, we don't just see what happened, we see how it began. We see arrogance, inequality, and fear exploited by those in power. We see how easily the masses can be manipulated when truth is distorted. These patterns repeat not because people are evil, but because human nature is consistent. Greed, pride, anger, desperation. They have always been with us. History equips us to spot these forces before they grow too strong. It teaches us to recognize when democracy is under threat, when division is being stoked, and when leadership veers toward tyranny. Without this knowledge, we become vulnerable. But with it, we gain the power to break the cycle. 9. History gives identity to the forgotten. For centuries, history was written by the victors. But in recent decades, we have begun to ask, what about the voices that were never heard? What about the women, the enslaved, the colonized, the oppressed? Learning history today means rescuing those stories from the shadows. It means uncovering the truth of indigenous resistance, feminist revolutions, black excellence, Asian resilience, and the working class struggles that shaped the modern world. This reclamation matters. Because identity is not just about where you are, it's about where you come from. When a young girl reads about women scientists who defied their era, she sees possibility. When a boy of color learns about revolutionaries who looked like him, he sees strength. When we all learn the histories we were never taught, we begin to understand that greatness is not reserved for the powerful, it lives in the margins too. And those margins deserve to be remembered. 8. History sharpens critical thinking. In a world where information is abundant but truth is scarce, historical thinking becomes a shield. It teaches us how to question, analyze, and verify. History is not memorization, it is interpretation. When we read conflicting accounts of the same event, we learn how to evaluate evidence. When we explore propaganda from the past, we recognize manipulation in the present. This skill is more crucial now than ever before. Fake news, deepfakes, manipulated timelines, these are not just digital threats, they are assaults on reality itself. Historical training helps us stay grounded. It teaches us that every source has a bias, that truth takes effort, and that understanding the past requires nuance. In learning how to study history, we learn how to survive in a world full of noise. 7. History fosters empathy across time and culture. It's easy to judge those who came before us. Why didn't they fight back? Why didn't they see it coming? Why were they so cruel? But history doesn't work that way. It asks us to look deeper. To sit with discomfort. To imagine what it meant to be a mother during war, a child during famine, or a farmer under empire. It humanizes what textbooks flatten. It reveals the complexity behind every decision. And once you begin to see the world through those eyes, through the grief of a Holocaust survivor, the pride of a decolonized nation, the sorrow of a disappeared generation, you carry that empathy into today. You begin to care more deeply about refugees, oppressed communities, and people whose lives seem far from yours. History doesn't just teach facts, it softens our hearts. It makes strangers feel like neighbors. 6. History builds resilience by teaching us that we are not alone. Our generation faces climate anxiety, political chaos, job insecurity, and existential dread. It's tempting to believe that no one has ever had it this hard. But history says otherwise. Plagues have ravaged cities before. Wars have torn nations apart. Oppression has choked freedom again and again, and yet, people fought back. People survived. People rebuilt. When we look at the Great Depression and see communities who shared what little they had, we remember that compassion thrives in crisis. When we read the words of enslaved people who still believed in freedom, we remember that hope is radical. When we learn about revolutionaries who risked everything, we are reminded that courage is contagious. History doesn't just inform us, it fortifies us. 5. History exposes the cost of silence. Silence has a price. That is one of history's hardest lessons. Genocide didn't happen because monsters existed, it happened because good people stayed quiet. Oppression didn't grow because it was hidden, it grew because it was normalized. Time and again, history shows us that bystanders become accomplices. Learning history means confronting our own responsibility. It means asking, where would I have stood? And then carrying that answer into our own time. Will we speak up for the voiceless today? Will we protect those under threat? Will we risk comfort for justice? The past cannot be changed, but its lessons can change us. 4. History dismantles arrogance and ignorance. We like to believe we're the smartest, most advanced generation to ever live. And in many ways, we are. But history reminds us that every powerful civilization thought the same, until they collapsed. The Maya. The Romans. The Ottomans. The British Empire. Each believed in its own permanence. Each was humbled by time. Studying their stories does not diminish us, it sharpens our self-awareness. It tells us that arrogance leads to decay. That blind faith in progress leads to disaster. That wisdom is not found in pride, but in perspective. When we study history, we don't become cynical, we become cautious. And caution is a form of intelligence. 3. History is the foundation of democracy. Democracy is not a given. It is not a default setting. It is a fragile miracle that must be protected, nurtured, and remembered. The right to speak, to vote, to assemble, these were not gifts handed down from above. They were wrestled from kings, fought for by workers, defended by martyrs. History shows us how quickly freedom can vanish. It shows us how dictators rise not with bullets but with cheers. It shows us how laws can change silently, until suddenly, justice is gone. If we forget the past, we become easy prey for those who rewrite it. But if we remember, if we teach the young what it took to build democracy, then we stand a chance of saving it. 2. History gives us a sense of belonging in something greater than ourselves. You are not just a name on a screen. You are not just a face in a crowd. You are the descendant of survivors, thinkers, fighters, and dreamers. You are part of a vast human story that stretches beyond borders and beyond lifetimes. History connects us to that story. When we learn about the struggles of past generations, we don't just honor them, we continue them. We become part of the legacy. Our decisions matter more, because we realize we're not starting from scratch. We're building on something sacred. We're shaping the next chapter. History gives us not just knowledge, but purpose. 1. History is not about the past. Here's the truth that history teachers whisper, but few understand until it's too late. History isn't about what happened. It's about what is happening. It's about the stories we tell to justify power, the facts we choose to remember, and the lies we let persist. Every war, every policy, every movement today is shaped by a version of the past. If we don't understand it, someone else will define it for us. History gives us the tools to reclaim that power. To challenge false narratives. To demand truth. To imagine a better future, one rooted not in fantasy, but in the hard-earned wisdom of those who came before. In the end, history is not dusty. It is burning. It is breathing. It is beating inside of every decision we make. And if we dare to listen, truly listen, it will change not only how we see the world, but how we move through it. Because the future isn't just something we enter. It's something we build. And history is the blueprint. The past isn't gone, it's living in every decision we make, every conflict we face, and every change we dream of. Learning history isn't about memorizing what happened. It's about understanding why it happened, and how it still shapes us today. So if this journey through time sparks something in you, hit like, subscribe, And share it with someone who needs to remember that knowledge of the past is power for the present. Stay curious. Stay questioning. And never forget, history is happening every moment.